Every after 5 years, Zambia holds general elections to choose leaders to represent them in public office, from as low as councillor, yes, up to country's president. And it is indeed, of course, the time of the year everyone has been waiting for. This August, about 6 million Zambians go to polls in choosing their leaders. Today I ask you, why are elections important to a nation like Zambia? Are you ready for the polls in August? And what kind of leader are you considering to put in office? Rather a quick fact as we start. Did you know that Zambia had their first general elections on the 19th of December 1968? Well, most of the times when we think of elections, we kind of think of the fun stuff. Like, say, the music that's going to play, the political environment, the ups and downs, the talks here and there that are going to be happening, the political rivalry that's going to be there, people speaking evil against each other, politicians coming back to your localities to kneel and beg for your votes. And that's just the general perception about what elections are about. But it's not really about the politicians that elections are about. Elections mainly are about you as a person and you choosing the right representative you feel fit to represent you and what you need most. And what happens is right now we are privileged so much that we can choose our elected leaders from as low as councillors up to the country's president. Now what this means is you have an opportunity to choose someone to lead you in your own ward to start with, then in your district, in your constituency, and the list just keeps on going high. It is really important, I must make mention, that when it comes to elections, young people must take keen interest because Zambia is a youthful population. Think about it. The majority of Zambians are young people. These are individuals below the age of 35. Something that we must be proud of as a nation. And if we're really to shape the future we want to see, if we're willing to shape the future and the Zambia we want to see and our children to grow up in a better and good environment with great policies, good standard of living and everything else that we actually wish for, then we must ensure we make the right decisions about the kind of people that we put in power. Now, today we are going to get views on why elections are actually important to a nation like Zambia from one of the youth that we have in the country from Kubabelt University. His name is Kelis Kasongo. And let's hear what he has to say with regards to why are elections important to a nation like Zambia.
Why are elections important to a nation like Zambia? So first things first, elections are part of a democratic process. In a country like Zambia, these are enshrined in our constitution. We are entitled to having elections after the stated period, that is 5 years. So elections ensure legitimacy. These leaders that are elected need to accept the right of them holding public office. And then this is only achievable if they accept the rules set by a country, in this case, the laws of Zambia, our constitution, and the people that are electing them have faith in the judicial system, so to say. People have faith in the public system. Then these leaders are surely confident that they are rightful owners of these public offices and they can therefore take up leadership for obviously a country like Zambia. Then one other thing is that having elections in a country like ours helps with solving problems, like urgent problems. It's easier for us to hold our leaders to account if we have elected them into power. And this is achievable if we are holding our elections frequently and our elections are more of competitive, because it's pointless to continuously hold elections and they don't turn out to be competitive. People need to have a wide variety of leaders to choose from. Then political information should be made available to these people, especially about the various candidates that are obviously taking part in these elections. People should be able to know who exactly they are voting for, what it is that they have said about the country itself. What is it that is their plan? What have they set as their manifesto? One other thing is that when elections are held in a country, the government will be able to translate people's preferences into policies. This is why people should be aware of the policy challenges that a country is facing. like in our country, Zambia, people should be able to know if at all there is a challenge with particular policies. Take, for instance, the National Youth Policy. Are people having challenges with that policy? What is it that they wish to change? They should be aware so that they do inform their leaders that they are about to elect into office about the changes that they need to see in these policies, because then it becomes easier for the government to take into action what people prefer and put them into action as policies. Another thing is that holding elections in a country brings about political stability, because then it's rare that there would be conflicts between the people and their leaders. People and their leaders would be in one accord, and this brings about political stability. And then political stability goes further to attract investors in a country, because then no investor would want to invest money in a country that is almost prone to war or any sort of violence that would lead to possible damage of their investment. So then by having a politically stable country, that is actually achievable when elections are held, because then the leaders and the people that elect them understand one another. Investors are attracted to actually come into a country and push in whatever investment platforms they might have available for the people. This would actually help boost economies for a country, especially a country like ours, and therefore have, most of the young people in this case employed, have, you know, the prices of goods and services reduced in certain areas. Obviously, not everything, because there is like each country being a member of a global community, and it's obvious that certain things would not be expensive because the country is not doing much. They would be expensive because it's obviously a problem that the global community is going through. So that is really much about elections being held in a country, their importance and everything.
Remember how I mentioned that when we hear elections, it's not really mostly based about the top guns of the show, but it starts from the smallest unit as a community, because elections are actually about you. Oh yes, I would really love you to pay particular attention, especially to your local representatives in your own locality, who you're supposed to vote for. It is necessary, that is, to vet them. By vetting them, I mean you have to assess them to ensure that you get the right information about them. Of course, these are people who will be coming to you with manifestos, or be coming to you with chitenges, or be coming to you with whatever game that they have to get your vote. But at the end of it, we are looking at the betterment of a nation, and if we are to cast a vote, let's cast a vote based on what we feel is right. At the end of the day, everything boils down to one question: what is it that you must look at? What is it that you must consider when choosing an individual of your choice to represent you in public office? Well, let's just get to hear what a few young people are going to consider when they are choosing their elected individual in public office.
My candidate should not only be a popular or worthy candidate, they must portray civic leadership qualities, be able to serve the nation and lead it back to glory. Looking at the increase in the population of young people that are jobless, job creation must be prioritized, with stern consideration on creating job opportunities for youths to participate in the country's development. My candidate should strengthen empowerment policies that will lead to economic development and personal development, which is going to assist SMEs to grow to a point of exporting quality goods and services. All I want is for my country to compete at a global economic level, and I believe my candidate should achieve this as Zambia decides, as we decide on the 12th of August 2021. Let's make Zambia great again.
A struggling economy like Zambia needs a naturally gifted person and a government that can do everything in its power to come up with economic solutions to see us as a country reach the sustainable development goals of 2030. Don't get me wrong, we are currently getting there slowly, but in my opinion, this might be the worst economic crisis I have seen my whole entire life as a Zambian citizen. Eliminating poverty, erasing hunger, raw, affordable and clean energy, increasing industry, innovations and infrastructure, which we are currently doing, create decent work and economic growth, and lastly, guarantee and promote peace, justice, and strong institutions. In my opinion, I really feel this must be worked on. Come August 12th, 2021, my vote, my right, my choice will lead to a better and prosperous Zambia.
You know what? Elections actually provide an important opportunity to advance the democracy and encourage political freedom. For an election to be free and fair, the freedoms of speech, association, and assembly are required. Elections also serve to encourage political debate and public dialogue. Therefore, the choice of my candidate must have a strong vision for the country's future and make sure that it grows economically. My candidate must also have effective communication skills so that his information is reached to the public effectively. My candidate should have crisis management skills to help eliminate poverty and see the country at its best economic level. My candidate should also have an ability to put the on-time and perspective of history, must be able to connect the roots of Zambia and know what the people really want. The candidate must consider the youth and create jobs for them and eliminate substance abuse and violent behavior in the country. Come 2021 August, my vote will determine who my best candidate is.
Voting is not just a right, it's a civic duty that you and I have to bring about the change that we want through our leaders. And we don't just vote for presidents. It starts with your local area councillor, then mayor, and the list goes on. On the 12th of August, I am going to stand strong and bold. With a firm vote, I am deciding my leader, and you should too.
There you have it. Young people expressing their views on what they'll be considering with regards to choosing an elected individual into public office. And not only that, giving expectations of what they must deliver and also giving a projection on how they want the country to best grow thereafter. Now, we would love to know what's going on in your area and in your communities all over the country. So if you can kindly send your submissions to enochlupikish2@gmail.com, that is via email, or on WhatsApp you can send to +26097 5512 You can send either in audio or in writing, and we can air your views on what's going on in your community, how best you want your community to grow, and how you see your community after the pause. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been Zambia Decides 2021. Until next time, let's remember, this podcast is going to air on 9 podcast hosting platforms, among them being Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcast, Breaker.audio, and Jamit FM. It has been your host, Enoch, with Zambia Decides 2021.